Hello and welcome to another episode of intelliTALKS. My guest for today is Stef. Stef, welcome.
Thank you, Marcel. Good to be here.
Happy to have you. So we'll be diving into some techniques and some blitzscaling, like you've mentioned them, techniques that will help people boost their businesses, especially on the Amazon and Europe marketplaces. But first, let's start by telling us a bit about yourself and your business, your agency, what you do. Let's start from there.
Yeah, thank you, Marcel, for the opportunity. And hello, listeners and viewers. Nice to meet you too. I'm now full screen. Great, that's nice. I'm looking at myself. I always dislike that. To tell a little bit about myself, I'm 38 from the Netherlands, but I'm making this video from Tuscany, Italy, where we also have an office. I've been in the Amazon space already for 12 years in the marketplace space. Always on a European level, so from Italy to Norway, from Switzerland to Ireland. And what I did the majority of those years was basically working inside companies to start selling to the consumer, that the consumer in Spain or in Italy or in the UK or in Germany has the local experience, which is important. But actually it was managed centrally. So basically, I went to any size of companies, SMEs, Fortune 500 companies, and I looked at it. Are you able to sell to the consumer through a marketplace? As you all know, a marketplace, specifically Amazon, is from an operational and contractual point of view not comparable with any other sales channel. So if you wanna, thank you for zooming out. I appreciate it. So basically, if you want to do this on a professional level, you need to basically involve the whole company, right? So Amazon is not a side project. Your warehouse management system needs to be connected. Your warehouse people need to be informed, trained. Your back office team needs to understand how the PO processing works. Your IT department needs to be involved. Your finance needs to understand the complexity of Amazon payments, and then still it's a difficult project. So basically, it's a complex company project for any size of company, and I basically continuously looked in, set that up, being to support companies to develop that. And but what you recognize is that results are not always optimized. If you look at the general Amazon sellers, 99% of the sellers only sell in 1, 2, or 3 countries. Well, Amazon actually offers the opportunity to sell in 9. So long story short, I went from project to project to develop the infrastructure, and now I said, not now, it's already 5 years ago. I developed a solution. I call it IaaS, as Amazon Infrastructure as a Service. We have the complete infrastructure designed around Amazon. And basically what we do, we say to companies, stop doing investments, stop working with 5 different service providers. We got you covered. We are going to make sure that from now on, Amazon Europe is a borderless business. So basically we help operate the European business on Amazon.
Mm-hmm. That's
So we are based in the Netherlands, where I started, but we also have a team in Italy, in Tuscany, because we attract people from all over Europe. And if you say come live and work in Tuscany, everybody wants to join. So that's basically why I'm sitting here. I'm actually now looking over a wine vineyard, so it's good life. I'm drinking not wine, it's coffee, but
all right.
In a couple of hours I'll also be drinking some nice
good
wine.
To know. All right, super. Thank you for that. So just to sum up on that one, what Marketplace Distri and Stef here will be helping us with, understanding and how to actually successfully manage the Amazon business across the entire Europe marketplaces. So for some people, like you said, and you pointed out very nicely, a lot of people are just focused on maybe 1, 2, maximum 3 marketplaces, because to be honest, it's a lot of hassle to manage all of them at the time. But I'm sure you can find it and put things in a nice and easy way for everyone, so that they can take advantage of the entire European space. Because in the end, the more places you're serving, the better and more revenue you can gain. That's the whole idea behind it,
Exactly.
right? So
You're absolutely right, Marcel. It's Europe is the fastest growing market for Amazon standards. 4 countries were opened in the last 2 years. Amazon is building warehouses throughout Europe, so it's something you should consider, because you can be a local hero today, but same as Amazon. Amazon is becoming a beast, or is already obviously a beast.
Yeah.
And when a beast enters a market, they basically eat away all the local heroes. So the ones that are now just focused on 1 or 2 countries, you mean make sure you make some money now, because in 5 years you won't be making money anymore, because the ones that are thinking without borders are generating more resources to be able to basically conquer the market and push out the local heroes over time.
Yeah. All right. So how do you see things? For example, let's say I'm an Amazon seller and I'm selling currently in maybe 1-2 marketplaces on Europe. Let's assume that's the scenario. What would be the best way to look at things into expanding to the other marketplaces? How could you help, and what maybe to pay attention to? How can marketplace industry, help us in the process? Let's go in with this scenario.
Yeah, let's focus on basically doing it yourself, and because
Okay.
I think everybody wants to see from their own strength what would be the approach. So in general, I don't believe in a border. I believe in a borderless business, and the market in Europe is quite large, with a lot of culture difference and all the differences, basically giving the opportunity to diversify risk and opportunity, basically. So what I always did, I would start with doing my market research. So even when a company is from the Netherlands, I would not say let's go live on Amazon.nl because you're from the Netherlands. So if you're from Germany and you want to launch on Amazon, I would also consider probably as Germany is the biggest market, but I would not be not an assumption of myself. So what I would always recommend is start doing some research. There's a lot of data available. A lot of tools are available that are able to give you insight on your product category, who are your competitors, what kind of revenues are they doing, what are their specifications, what are your product specifications, how do you relate versus price, versus content. And if you are a product owner yourself, you most probably are very easily to be able to recognize, are you able to compete with those local heroes? So it starts with in-depth research, understanding the size of your potential market, then understanding the players that are in it, how professional are they, and you're going to be very surprised. For example, I was looking, I think this week as an example, somebody was selling chocolate, and I said, okay, let's type in chocolate, okay. And we went to Amazon.co.uk, we typed in chocolate. Obviously, there were thousands and thousands and thousands of products. But like everybody said, I prefer, for example, milk chocolate. Okay, I click on milk chocolate. So from thousands, it went only, let's say 900. I don't know the exact figures anymore.
Yeah.
And then I say, well, I like to have, for example, nuts in it. So you went from thousands to at the last moment, it was just 54 competitors. And then you think, how is that possible? This is not a product trend. This is not a new market. This is a category that's been existing for many years. But you see that there are just a very few that really put on all the subcategories. But consumers use subcategories. So that's a part of the research that you should be able to do, to start recognizing, okay, how big is that competitor market? So once you understand where the market is, then I start calculating back, what are the margins that I'm able to make and how does that operation look like? So for example, okay, let's not take UK, let's, for example, focus on Sweden. Personally, I really love Sweden. Why? Because there's almost no competition. the consumers are very friendly versus Italians where I live, where you immediately get swear words from the moment they're not happy with anything. But also the prices are much higher. So at the end, you want to make some money, right? So I don't have to, it's the total margin is basically the thing that you're focusing on.
Right.
So let's take Sweden. So let's have a look at Sweden. So are you able to, your customer support doesn't speak Swedish? No, probably not. Then you can find a freelancer that can maybe support you. Because if you would go, for example, to an agency that says, okay, I'll offer you the customer support in Sweden, then a retainer's amount probably starts at 400 euros, something like that. Nobody does it for 50 euro, let's be clear. But you need to obviously have the revenues to start paying off that customer support. Then you need to have a VAT number to be able to do local storage, so you can offer next day delivery. There are a lot of companies there that are able to support on that part of the business. And then you need a marketeer, right? So do not translate somebody. Find a specialist that does only Amazon. So you need a freelancer or an agency that only does Amazon. Amazon is not a side project, right? You need to be able to make sure that the team that is sitting there, the data analysts, the content writers, all work together and talk about the continuously crazy strategy developments within Amazon.
So to be a native speaker of that language, right? It's very important to be a native speaker of that. To be a native speaker of that language, just to make sure that
of course.
They're not. Especially with Germany, it's very difficult if you're starting there, yeah.
No, you need to have a native speaker from various levels. Also because you need to know which trends there are, when, for example, holidays are, and so you need to know the local market, right? So don't find a student that also went for 6 months to Sweden to have a good time. That's not gonna really help you, right?
Or Fiverr might not be a good option. Yeah. Fiverr might not be a good option
could be very good.
Yeah, only if it's
a
native.
bit risky. Yeah. So what we did as an example, we hired 2 freelancers, one to do the work and one to control the other. And only on that is the only way how you're able to make sure that your freelancer does good work if you can't read the text, obviously. So then once you know that, you need to check what's the sales price, what's the local VAT, what are the shipment costs, what are the return costs, what's the percentage of the returns that you actually have, so you can actually start calculating a cost price. From that moment on, when you know the local partners that you need, what the kind of contracts you have to sign to have them supporting you, the local operational cost. From that moment on, basically, and it's just a part of starting like in any other country. Make sure the products are listed, make sure there's stock, and start investing and then building, analyzing, and keep on building.
Yeah, that's
why maybe it makes sense why I say it to you, but believe me, I've been talking to brands for 12 years, and everybody says, so I'm from the Netherlands, so the next country I go is Germany. And why Germany? Yeah, because I have somebody that speaks German in my company. So it's the most easy way, and that's, like I said, 99% only sells in 1 or 2 countries because they choose their home country and the neighbor country. They have no idea, literally no idea, because they never did the research, if maybe the biggest market, by far the biggest market, is just 1 country further. So Amazon is a borderless business, right? You have 1 login, 1 background where you can do everything. So take advantage of that opportunity.
Yeah, that's definitely the case. Also, I want to emphasize here the fact that some products may be selling best in the next country rather than the one you would think. So the market research is very important just to see. Because, for example, I was talking to a friend from Serbia, to Jana, and she was mentioning something very important. For example, in Germany, the wooden toys are hot. They are really, really well selling. So that's a great market.
The
for
Netherlands
wooden
also,
toys.
Scandinavia also,
Yeah, so it's incredible.
Yeah.
Not all countries are happy to welcome and to sell that good, for example, to bring a lot of revenue on wooden toys. But there are some countries that can definitely be leveraged and bring you a lot of revenue by simply expanding there and, of course, doing the proper due diligence prior to that. So yeah, that would be the case when I take everything on my head and I, go through the headaches of finding the right people, talking to the right people, and getting myself a one-man show, so to speak, into all the European countries. What would be another option?
Well, let's in the first option, make sure you're not going to hire an Amazon manager, because if you hire an Amazon manager, and I hope not too much Amazon managers are listening, Amazon, like in the beginning said, it's not a side project. You need to really involve the whole company, because there are too much things that you need to continuously follow. Right, you cannot be a VT expert and a cost price expert and a customer support expert and an Amazon marketing service expert. It's just not there. So make sure if you're an Amazon manager to involve the team and make a project plan together. The second option, what you have is that you can basically start working with different service providers. So you look for a warehouse company that specializes with Amazon, a marketing agency specialized with Amazon, and an accountant that's also being able to understand the local, the local VT regulations. This is often the quickest way because you're dealing with just a few companies, but obviously the costs are quite high because everybody is earning on their part of the business. The third option is, we could also be a solution. Well, you asked, Marcel, so I'm answering. What we do is quite unique in the market. We set up seller accounts with the fiscal and legal entities already completely set up in all 9 countries. This is already directly also connected to the warehouses for the stock control. So we lease those accounts back to the brand. So the brand basically leases a seller account that is completely set up, and we just provide support from the, let's say, the part of the operation that they don't have under control. Mm-hmm. So on this way, you can immediately start selling in 9 countries, and with just talking to one company that does, can support you with the listing, can support you with the translations, can support you with the compliance. So this is a very accessible way to start looking at Europe as a one market, basically.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. That's very nice that you've mentioned it, and thank you for bringing it up. So I'm an entrepreneur, and I always like to take care of my time, for example, and to make sure that things are properly done. And like you've mentioned, it's important for people to know their own things and each of them to attend their own things. So by delegating, and in this case by hiring, let's say, an agency like Marketplace District, for example, that would definitely.
Well, you need to be. I'm not an agency, yeah. So well, actually, what we do, we are not an agency. An agency is often focused on the account management and performance marketing activities. We're an Amazon operator. So yeah, we have an in-house performance team. So we can do that, but we like to actually work with agencies. Why? Mm-hmm. Because the agency already knows the clients. The agency already does often the seller management, and we on the background do the boring stuff. So we do the import, the warehouse, the logistics, the VAT filing, and the compliance. So the agency can still be involved with the things that they already are doing. So the agency stays within their comfort zone, but they can actually expand the services to 9 countries. And the brand also is staying within their comfort zone, because they don't need to have all the, let's say, the legal knowledge about and also the fiscal knowledge to start expanding on a European level. So we are really an operator, and we also do that marketing activities, but we like to work with other software providers or with other agencies and do it in a shared approach. Mm-hmm. Sorry that I interrupted you, but this is always a very sensitive topic. And everybody at my office always knows, I'm always shouting, we are not an agency, we are an operator. Because why is 99% not active in 9 countries? Because it's an operating game. If you do not control the operation, you're unable to sell from various levels, right? So 1, you cannot ship, 1, you cannot return. And as well, Amazon on the background is continuously checking your your performance, right? So, and the better your performance, the better the ranking. The lower the local performance, the lower your product page ranking. So operation is key. In America, Amazon is a marketing game. In Europe, it's a lot based on how you set up the operation.
All right. So from the operational perspective, that's something to get off your chest, for example. But I do understand your approach, and it's important for everyone else to understand it, because from my perspective, understanding the business is the first step towards getting it done properly. So delegating and finding the right people, the key people into the right places, is always the key here. So from my perspective, again, I'm looking at things from right now from the helicopter view. I want to know that each of the aspects are being taken care of by professionals. So yeah, we've maybe you can share some.
Otherwise, you're not sleeping, Marcel.
Right on. So maybe you can share like a case, like an exception, so to speak, of something that happened and people can learn from. I'm thinking now like a scenario that you went through, and something to be aware of from the seller perspective of what can happen if you're not, dealing things in the right and proper manner from the operations perspective with VAT and everything. So what are the risks, the bad things that can happen if things are not handled properly?
Well, let me give you one anecdote about not knowing the local market. So I was selling a product in Germany, and on a certain moment I got a when you don't pay your bills, I'm sure everybody had it, then somebody rings your doors and say, hey, you didn't pay the bill, this is the bill, you need to sign that you received the bill. A collector's agency. I received a collector's agency at my door. Right. And they said, well, Stef, you opened the document. It was in German, so I obviously couldn't read it. So I called a friend. Hey, can you come to the office? I have a document, a legal document I'm unable to read. But there were some figures around. It was like 100,000 and a date. So I was a little bit scared.
Yeah.
So what happened basically, the product that I was selling in Germany, actually someone had exclusivity for. What happens in Germany, you
like a patent or trademark or something like that, or
it was more the product was a copycat and from an original product, and I didn't know, honestly, it was an American product, and I don't know, somebody had their exclusive rights on that certain patent. I don't know exactly what the case was.
Yeah.
Anyhow, what the problem was is that there was a lawsuit with an actually date of hearing. Then the judge gave me a fine of 100,000 euro. And then later I was informed, hey, you had a lawsuit, you lost, and you have to pay 100,000 euro. So, for example, in the Netherlands, when somebody has a case, you first inform you by letter, hey, you're selling something that you cannot sell. And then you can reply to that and try to find a deal. You don't sell it or whatever. But in case you decide, no, I want to keep selling the product, this person then can go to court and start saying, I want to have 100,000 euro damage money.
Right.
Well, in Germany, it doesn't work like that. So that's just one specific example of what the variations are on country level, right? So there are things you cannot even come up with that are apparently a local experience that you need to have, that can obviously very risky business. At the end, we were lucky because we basically, I was already 10 years ago, I was a young guy, so I called, I'm a young guy in a startup, please do so, help me, and I was not planning to do so. I really didn't know. If I knew, I was not selling the product. Yeah. It was actually not on Amazon, it was actually on Groupon where we were selling the product. I think it was Groupon. And so basically said, well, if you have proof that you're going to destroy all the products, then we will let it go. So then a friend of mine had like a big army truck, and we put them in a land, we put on all the products, and we drove with the truck over the boxes with all the stuff. And then we sent the video to the manufacturer, and the manufacturer said, okay, this was good fun. It's okay, we leave it. You only have to pay the legal cost of a couple of €1,000 and the dealers off. So
Yeah,
that was
yeah.
purely luck that we were able to get on somebody's side, saying, okay, they didn't mean it. They're good guys. They were just not that smart.
Yeah.
So this is one example, but in general, what the first thing that you need to do as a company, if you want to start selling on a European level, is in general the compliance. So you need to make sure your product is compliant. So, for example, if you are an American company, you want to entering into Europe, you need to have an import of record. An import of record, that is basically a private person behind it. That private person actually signs under that company. Obviously, you can set up a limited type of constructions. You don't have actually private liability, but there's a 10-year long product liability. So if you find somebody that basically imports your product, that means for 10 years long, they are responsible. So you forgot already that you sold the product. 5 years later, our house burns down, worst case scenario. And this person says, well, it was the fault of MARCEL. He was selling that product 5 years ago on Amazon. You completely already forgot it. So you need to make sure that your product is compliant against a European law, because if you, for example, have a certificate from your manufacturer in China, and I don't want to say something negative, but often certificates are being basically photoshopped. So you ask for the certificates, you get the certificate, then it all looks good. But then what you actually need to do, you need to hire a compliance officer that is actually going to check in the legal documents of the government if the company actually has the document. If you don't have it, that's, for example, a bad, from a legal perspective, you didn't do your due diligence. So on that way, then they can really take personal liability on such situations. So, but also on a smaller level, and then I will stop on this part, ingredients have different naming on country level. So by law, you need to give it a different name than, for example, how you are familiar knowing it. So you need to check upfront your product labeling if they are against the format of the local government. Obviously, also what Amazon is requiring. And then also that the translations and the wording are correct, because you know, it's very obvious. If you get a product, for example, Marcel, we were talking a bit about Dutch and German language. I mean, if you would get a product with a Dutch or German language, you probably have no idea how to use it, right? So same in the other way around. So from a customer experience perspective, it's quite important. And why is it also again important? Because your reviews are often not on your product; it's about your operations. How quickly did I get the product? Could I easily return it? When I sent a question to the customer support, did I going to reply back in local languages within 24 hours? That was also a clear answer. And then you create a sort of client base that are happy. If you start playing around a bit on that, you know, you're going to get bad reviews. And I think everybody listening in knows what bad reviews do for your business.
Yeah. Just to sum up, the whole idea of bad reviews will get less attention from any Amazon related customers. Even if you're selling like crazy, a bad review on your listing it's a bad signal to Amazon that something is wrong. So they will slow down sending people to your listing in some cases.
Exactly. And even if you have 3-star review, you are unable to do any promotions anymore, right? So
exactly.
It's also a painful situation. So it's basically everything is about Amazon about customer experience, the product page, the product itself, and then but also the supplier behind it needs to be professional. If you all organize all those different aspects, then Amazon can be a very good business.
Yeah. And in the end, I want to emphasize on another very important thing I keep close to my chest. Always it's about serving, not selling to your customers, to your end clients. Serving is the most important part. So everything that Stef mentioned there is about serving and doing a very good job in relation to the customers that you're getting through Amazon. That's super. Stef, tell us a bit how people can reach out to you. Of course, I'll be adding some information in the description below. So if they have any questions, to reach out to you.
Well, first of all, just sorry, I am interrupting you.
No, don't worry. It's fine. Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, the most easy way, if you just send me a link through LinkedIn, and just tell me what your plans are, and then I'm able to see if I'm able to help. And obviously we have a website, marketplacedistrict.com. And so basically what we would like to do, if I can quickly pitch myself, look at Europe as a borderless business. Don't try to do everything yourself, because you're not gonna. It's a different. You need local experience. There's no such thing as a European strategy. So if you are thinking of scaling, then the only way how to scale is to look at it as a borderless business. And then you need to work with professionals that focus on that operational part. And again, don't work with too many service providers, because then you're not going to make any money. So do your good cost price calculations, and then once you have your plan, start investing and start focusing on it, and then the business can be good. And yeah, like I said, I've been working with hundreds of brands in these last 12 years, doing crazy revenues, not for everybody, unfortunately, but for some a lot. So would be nice to scale together.
Sounds great. Awesome. So for everyone here, thank you for staying with us. You can reach out to Stef. I will be providing also the LinkedIn profile in the description below. And for any questions, and of course, we'll make sure that you're asking Stef for a free check on the market for potential pan-European level expansion. Am I saying this correctly, Stef? I don't want to.
Yeah, exactly. So this interview, everybody that says, okay, I know Marcel and I've been seeing Stef on camera. We do free of charge market research. So the what I was just checking where's your biggest market, but also make a cost price calculation after all the local deductions, to at least give you a very good understanding the size of the market, and are you able to make some money there on product level. That's something that we offer to all your listeners, Marcel.
Thank you very much for that, and really appreciate it. I'm sure everyone will look at this as a great opportunity to at least get an overview of what can happen on the pan-European level from working with a professional and looking through the eyes of professionals at this expansion plan. So, Stef, I really appreciate it. Is there anything else you'd like to share, or we've touched base on the most important things?
No, I think things about it. I mean, we can talk a lot about the business. I mean, it's an interesting market, and it's a growing market. And so my tip to all the entrepreneurs here and all the managers behind it, keep reading the data, keep reading, listening to podcasts like this to understand where the market is going. And then, same as you need to you're going to make mistakes, costly mistakes, but if you keep on building, you make progress, because the opportunity is definitely there. But you basically need to learn the roadmap. But therefore you have Marcel also to support, and on me if necessary. So yeah, keep on hustling, and I'm sure 2023 will be good, whatever the market does, right? So that's my last point. So obviously we are looking at a market that is unsecure. So if you're only selling in one country, there is a realistic chance you're going to lose revenue. So if you want to stabilize your revenue, you need to diversify risk and opportunity. So you don't want to be depending on one country. Spread your risks, and then you're going to see that whatever the market also does, whatever trends there are, you're able to create a steady flow. And that obviously is very nice to have as a business, to that steady income.
Very well said. Thank you for that, and thank you for sharing with us today every thoughts about the business from your perspective, Stef. It's been a pleasure to have you, and looking forward to having you again in the future with more ideas and more information for our viewers. Thank you.
Thanks, Marcel. Thanks for the invite.
Bye, everyone.